All right, I am live. I'm going live real quick. This is a just a quick thoughts. I'm just sharing my thoughts. Um, so there was a conversation on a particular channel, and they were discussing a scenario. And I was like, this makes a really good conversation. So I'll give you guys a scenario. The details of who and the what doesn't matter. It's just a scenario. I just thought it was really interesting. So there's a man who is in a conversation and he says that his wife is a his wife is a teacher and she had a student who brought her flowers. No particular occasion, he brought her flowers. She accepted the flowers. Now this is like probably a child student, not a like college student or something. This is a kid. And so like the next day there was some more flowers being brought to the teacher. And so this teacher, she says to the student, why did you bring me flowers 2 days in a row? What's this about? And the student just told her, oh, my dad is having me send these flowers or bring them to you. They're from my dad. And so the wife, who is the teacher, who's received the flowers, she accepted the flowers on day one, accepted the flowers on day two. This is not really the issue. What happens is day one, she shares with her husband, who's the one on the panel. She shares with him that he should know that the student brought her flowers, and he thought nothing of it when she shared that information with him on day one. He was like, "Oh, that's nice. That's a nice gesture," and I think it is. And then when the flowers arrived, another set of flowers on day two, the guy was like, whoa, what's that about? You know? And the wife said, well, I did ask the student, why did he send me flowers 2 days in a row? And his response was, my dad had me bring the flowers to you. So this is a parent, a male parent, who seems, we can assume, to have some interest in the teacher for whatever reason. And he's sending flowers through the student. Now, whether he knows that this is a married teacher or not, we can't tell. But this is the husband and the wife. So they have a little situation. So, what do you do? What should the teacher, the wife, do? What should the husband do? So, this is the conversation that they're having on the panel among a group of men. And so, one man says that, okay, let me tell you what the guy did. The husband, who has been informed, the wife is not upset, she's not beside herself. She hasn't asked for any intervention from the husband or anything. The husband decides that so she's not distraught, upset, needing support, help. She didn't ask for anything. The husband decided that he would go to the next PTA event. And when he came to the next PTA event, he would make sure that he brought his wife a whole big bundle of beautiful red roses publicly, with the intention, hoping that when that male parent showed up, that his presence and these flowers would have something to say, so to speak. It would give him the impression, without saying anything, that this woman, I'm aware of you, you're aware of me, I'm her husband, something like that. This was his solution. He came to the PTA meeting, and the man did happen to come. That parent did happen to come, and that parent did happen to see that he had brought flowers for his own wife. Nothing else happened after that. No more flowers came, no confrontation, no nothing. The guy was satisfied with his decision to let it be known that he had brought flowers publicly to the school PTA meeting so that all could see that he loves his wife. Not everybody doesn't know what's going on, but this is symbolic. This is how he decided to handle it. Now, there was another man on the panel, and his decision, he said what he thought should have been or might have been a better thing was not to necessarily buy flowers or anything like that. He said he thought that maybe It might be a better idea for him as a man to walk up to this male parent and ask him, "Can I speak with you? I understand you have brought flowers 2 days in a row through your son to give to my wife, and I'm the husband. Let's talk." Not fight the man, not have a confrontation per se, but to open up a dialogue, hopefully a mature one. And I cringed when I heard that. And the reason why I cringe is because I've spent many years as an educator in the school system, and I know how things work, and I know what does work and what doesn't work. So, in my opinion, I think both men were wrong because one, a teacher has a professional responsibility to maintain professionalism at all times. That creates a conflict of interest. That creates a conflict of interest to have a husband come onto school property at all for a PTA meeting. PTA is for parents, teachers, and administrators, and students if they want their student present. Both men, in my opinion, are way wrong. There are standards and what you call ethics, professional standards and professional ethics. So to have a boyfriend or a spouse come to the location where you work to assert anything or be present at all when you are in line of work is wrong. Now, we could argue and say that the flowers being given, the presence of the husband was benign. We could say that, okay? But I got a couple of thoughts here about that. If this woman has invested in her career and it matters to her, she doesn't need an intervention from an outsider. I'll give you an example and scenario of why this is dangerous. So, one example is that man who wanted to give the flowers or whatever, we don't know what his response could have been. We don't know. He could have very well decided to be confrontational. Everybody don't respect marriages, right? He could decided that he was getting into a jealousy. You don't know people's mental state. He might not recognize that he's out of pocket, that he's doing the wrong thing. He might not. That's a possibility. Most people have enough sense to walk away from giving somebody else's wife flowers, but you don't know. Okay. The second scenario is even more dangerous to her career. I'm thinking about the woman's career. I'm thinking about respect for the woman who's invested time and energy into her own career. I'm thinking about that. So in this scenario where this man he says, "My wife has been given flowers through the student from the parent, father, the father of the child, twice. And I'm going to put an end to it by telling him, step aside. I want to talk to you, brother," however you say it. That scenario could absolutely go all the way left. It could end up embarrassing, humiliating the wife because it's a public confrontation. It could end up putting her in a situation for a possible lawsuit. And it could get her just fired because the first thing the school, well, let me tell you the scenario how it could play out. It could play out. You walk up to this man and say, "Hey, I understand you gave flowers to my wife. I don't need you to ever do that again." That father, parent who's there on business at the school has business at the school. He has jurisdiction and reason to be there and be present. The husband does not. That's the first mistake. The husband has no presence or reason to be present, and that is going to come back on the wife. Facts. Okay? You brought a problem to the school, period. Don't matter whose fault it is, you brought a problem to the school. The parent has the right to be there and to speak to the teacher and be present. The husband does not. He has no professional standing or reason to be at the school, to stand guard or otherwise. He has no reason to be there. So that's the first problem. The second issue is that the second issue is that if this man, right or wrong, decided to take up arms and be like, oh hell no, wait a minute. You trying to check me? Who the fuck is you? It can go that route. It could go that route. The conversation could go bad. Man, fuck you. Loud. Man, fuck you, nigga. I'm just saying, you don't control people's responses. You might want to have a civil conversation. Doesn't mean the other person's going to respond well. You don't know. So now you can have a verbal thing, and the wife is embarrassed, and she's going to have to go and have meetings and explain why X, Y, and Z happened. Another second scenario to a confrontation like that, this person might escalate. And you would hope that the husband would retreat even after he's made a scene. But if the husband doesn't retreat, next thing you know, it blows. You got a parent, and then the wife of a husband of a teacher fighting. We still got a problem. Doesn't matter who threw the first punch. The husband should not have been present. Everything else can be handled after school according to the protocol. Okay. Third thing that could have gone wrong. If you confront a man at the school and you don't even have a reason to literally be there, no professional service that you're providing to the school, and you're there, and you get into a fight or attacked, either party could feel threatened and pull out a gun. Not supposed to have guns on schools, but hey, you don't know. Anytime you get into confrontations with people, somebody can pull a gun. That's some real shit. A lot of people protect themselves. So now you could possibly have a gun pulled out or a school shooting at a PTA. All of this would put the wife, the professional woman, at risk. Any of those scenarios. The consequences will be on her. Absolutely on her. So I thought this was a very interesting conversation. In my graduate courses, I took education law. And so this is I mean, woo, I was just like, this was like, ooh, this was just so gooey to me. It's so gooey because what we do in regular life and the stuff that may happen in a regular work setting, education law is totally different. Education law is real tricky. Educators are held to a different standard with ethics and all of that. It's totally different. Protocols are different. So I'll tell y'all two situations and scenarios. If and when a teacher, a female teacher, okay, we'll just use a female teacher. If and when a female teacher has a situation that's uncomfortable, her first expectation that she's supposed to do professionally, because you want to be backed up by the legal team, okay? And you want to be right and correct. As a teacher, your first thing that you're supposed to do is either talk to your direct supervisor, which could be your team, what you would call, it depends on how it's set up. A lot of times we have a department chair. You go to your department chair and you explain the scenario and the situation. 9 times out of 10, your department chair is going to defer such a situation, particularly with a parent and not another staff member, to the principal. The teacher, the department chair, and the principal would likely, for legal purposes, come up with a plan of execution of how to address the situation. Okay? That would not be something that would even fall on the teacher directly. They would not require her to confront the parent or say, hey, please don't send me flowers or anything like that. What 9 times out of 10 would happen is that the principal, it's that person's responsibility to keep order and be responsible for the safety of the building and any scenarios in it. The principal would likely call that parent, maybe with the department chair, and they would speak to the parent about gift giving and this and that, and ask that person, we're trying not to, cross lines, et cetera, et cetera. They would explain it in such a way to give that parent boundaries. And from that moment forward, any contact, they would say that you as a parent, right? That's what the principal would say. We would like you to call the department chair, email the department chair. And at that point, your department chair would be the intermediary between you and that parent. So if that parent said, hey, I want to get a phone call, you call the department chair, and then there would be a three-way phone call. That's the protection and the legal responsibility of the entity, which is the school. I'm talking education law here. The next thing is if that parent wanted to communicate directly to that teacher again through parent conference or PTA or whatever, that's where the department chair would stand in. And they would say, contact me and we will set up a group, right? A group meeting. And that department chair would be sitting right there for any engagement at all. You're not going to demonize that parent. But what you're going to do is you're going to put a barrier of contact between that teacher who is the target of love and all of that stuff and that parent with the lust. Husbands are not needed. So what I'm saying is a single woman would have been able to handle this, a woman with no husband, very easily. Teachers are protected, you know, under this system. They have a whole protocol. They also have security at the school, you know. Nobody's going to be doing nothing to her, you know. So if she were to have a problem, a verbal something, anything happen, they're going to come down on that teacher. They're going to hold her responsible. They're going to ask her, why did you not document this with your department chair? Why did you not communicate this and have this resolved through your principal? Why did you not follow the protocols? And if something really bad happened, like a fight in front of the whole school at a PTA meeting, her job would absolutely, her profession would be at risk. She would be going before an ethics board trying to fight for her job. Might have a leave of absence. They'd have to do an investigation. A full investigation would ensue. A full investigation. It might sound cop diesel that you're going to confront or talk to or however, you know, have a discussion with this man on campus. But I have to say, it puts a wife, her profession, her reputation, puts her at risk. It puts her at risk. I wouldn't do that. I have two scenarios I can speak of real quick. And I'm talking particularly because this woman's a teacher. You know, if she worked at Walmart, I guess you could do whatever the fuck you want to do and not give a damn. But when you're a teacher, the ethics, your certification, your job, everything follows you. You cannot escape if you screw up. You can't escape. They will hold you accountable and they can take your license. They can suspend and fire you. I would never ever suggest that any man step ahead of the school district for his own ego. I would never suggest that. He has no business coming on your campus. He has no business confronting the students or their parents that you serve. He has no business. Totally, totally unprofessional. Totally, totally unprofessional. No respect for women to do that. No respect for her career. Let me say that. Good intentions, but no respect for her career or the order that her career provides and requires. Two scenarios I want to talk about. One scenario, in my HOA, we had some problems years ago. We have class action lawsuit. One of the ladies that I was working with, she was verbally assaulted by the HOA president. He called her all kind of bitches. This bitch, that bitch, da da da, just out of pocket, talking reckless. And I think it was a day or two later, I asked her, when you told your husband what he said to you, what did your husband say? You know what she said to me? Girl, you think I would tell my husband? She said, I know what to tell him and what not to tell him because he's a fool. I know my husband. She said, was I to come home and tell him this man then confronted and called me all kind of bitches. She said the first thing he would have done is got in his vehicle and drove over there. And right now he would be sitting in DeKalb County Jail. I don't need him in jail, so he's never going to know about that. I said, wow, interesting. Very interesting. So I give women credit to know that they know their husbands and they know what to say and what not to say because women can handle their own shit. I don't know where folks get off thinking they got to put a motherfucking cape on. Women can handle their own shit. They can, especially when they have a profession they've invested in. They can handle their own shit. My girl did not tell her husband about that shit because her husband, and I do know her husband, she ain't lying. That Negro would have been over there at that dude house, and the 911 would have been calling, and it wouldn't have been calling to help him. It had been calling to help him get her husband off of somebody. It would have been ugly. He'd have been in jail, no doubt. And before going through all that, some shit you keep to yourself. Some shit you learn how to handle diplomatically. You can't necessarily tell your husband, depending on his behavior and his attitude, certain stuff because he gonna get out of pocket. And at the end of the day, what good is it? So that's one situation. I'll give you another scenario where women have to be careful with husbands with their career. There's a sister named Wanda. Wanda in the morning was a show, Frankie and Wanda in the morning, here in Atlanta. Now, Wanda we're not going to get even into the details, but Cat Williams came on the show. It's her and another man. Okay. Cat is Frank Ski and Wanda in the morning is the name V103. They had a show. They invited Cat Williams on the show. Everything was going fine. But for some reason, Wanda decided that she wanted to be funny. And sometimes your arms is not long enough to box with God. She chose the wrong target. She might have been able to get away with it with a minor comedian, but it was Cat Williams. She started doing and saying things that he didn't appreciate. And he gave her a couple of kicks, gave her some verbal kicks to let her know, back up off me, bitch. But she didn't take that. She kept going because she just really wanted to be funny. She wanted to win. She got in her ego. She didn't back down. She started talking about his hair, his clothes. She started taking shots. And at that point, Cat Williams went in for the kill. He went in for the kill so bad, he dragged Wanda so freaking bad that he basically humiliated her. And we could actually say he ended her career. Okay. That shit went viral. Her little comedian career was fucking over after that. But that wasn't the worst part. He was still in Atlanta. So I think it was 2 days later, he was supposed to be at this comedy club. So Cat Williams goes to the comedy club and he's at the comedy club minding his own business, doing what he's supposed to do. He comes out of the comedy club and there's Wanda's husband. Wanda Smith is her name. You can read about it. I'm just telling y'all, it's important for women to protect their careers even from their husbands. I'm just saying, I got to keep it real. So Wanda Smith is at the comedy club too, doing her career in comedy. So she's radio in the day, comedy at night. Okay. The husband is there on her territory where she's doing her comedy. Okay. The husband is there. He sees Cat Williams. He knows Cat Williams is going to be there. They're both at the show. They're both in showbiz comedy, right? Cat Williams comes out after he's got done doing his thing at the comedy show. Wanda Smith's husband walks behind with two guys to confront Cat Williams. The husband gets into some kind of argument chasing behind Cat Williams and pulls a gun out. He pulls the gun out. Somebody calls the police, not Cat Williams. Cat Williams just takes off running and gets the fuck on. But now that the police are involved, it's on record and it goes viral too. That Wanda Smith's husband did not like the way that Cat Williams was joking and picking at his wife and humiliated her 2 days before this comedy show. So he decided that he wanted to come and either whoop his ass or kill him by pulling out his gun, which he did. One or the other. Cat Williams was not about it. He wasn't. He got a man. He a man with a lot to lose. He was not trying to fight or shoot nobody. Cat Williams got the fuck on. Okay. Look at the scenario. Look at what happened. The husband came in the territory of the wife who has a career. He came to the comedy show. He didn't need to be there, but he came and he decided he wanted to be confrontational. Hey, what's up, Woo? What's up? I'm talking about the conversation from earlier, that this idea of flowers and your professional work, and should a husband come on your job to check somebody. It's very interesting. In this case, this is a scenario where a man, a husband, calls his wife not only her career, but her life. He costed her everything. Wanda Smith and Cat Williams. I'm bridging it to that. So what happens to Wanda is it's not just the fact that her husband came, confronted Cat Williams, pulled a gun on Cat Williams. It's gone viral now. It's a huge story. Now, Wanda ain't fought nobody. Wanda didn't confront Cat Williams. Wanda didn't do anything. But Wanda has an obligation to her job at V103, where all her money came from, most of it. Most of her success, she's been on that show for 20 freaking years. Okay. Yeah, it's crazy. That's what I'm saying. Women got to protect themselves from their husbands when it comes to their careers. They have to. Look at Wendy Williams. I mean, I could go on and on. Mary J. Blige, you got to be careful. When you involve your so called husband in your business, your profession, you got to be careful. And so, what I'm saying about that scenario earlier is dudes think that they're, being bravado. I got to prove I'm the husband. I got to pull up on this nigga at the PTA. You can ruin your wife. Even if you didn't intend to, you can. So in this case, the case with scenario with Wanda Smith is that her husband confronted that man. The police were called. It got out. It was in the media. It was a big freaking fucking deal. Cat Williams has an attempted murder on him by Wanda Smith's husband after going viral for her humiliation that Cat Williams did verbally on the Frank and Wanda show in the morning. She has an obligation to V103. Her contract says that if you bring shame, embarrassment, humiliation, or bad PR to this company, this conglomerate, it's not just V103, it's owned by a bigger corporation. You're done. Your career's done here. And we're talking about radio. And you know, with radio, you have parent companies who parent companies who parent companies. And there's one big motherfucker at the top. So when you get fucked up in radio, you can't just bounce over to the next hottest thing. They probably own that too. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. When you're dealing with radio, you get blacklisted. You're done. You're done. That's what happened to Wanda. Wanda lost her job because of her husband. She didn't do what her husband did. She lost her job. And from there, it was a downward spiral. So we couple that with the fact that she got embarrassed and humiliated. The shit went viral on social media. What Cat Williams, how he roasted her and all that, that fucked her up for as far as her comedy career. Now he didn't fucked up her rate, not him, but the husband fucked up her radio. So two men kind of fucked her up. But she fucked herself up because she shouldn't have came for Cat Williams. She really was boxing with somebody who she shouldn't have been boxing with. You shouldn't have got in that ring. Should have been cordial and got the fuck on, not be funny. Okay? But she basically had two men who ended her. So Wanda Smith, from that point, she lost her job. There was nothing that could be done. She lost her job at the radio. Been there like 20 years. You said that's ghetto? Yeah, that's a ghetto mentality. To want to go on somebody's job and be confrontational is very ghetto. And that's why I said the other day, it's crazy because social class, People think different. We got to keep it real. Social class is a motherfucker. Motherfuckers think different. We do. We don't think the same. Certain people in certain social class, they think the thing to do is go on that job, find this mug, and fight. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna show you my manhood. That's my woman, right? Other social classes, they might say, "Ooh, my wife's invested in her career. She's a professional. She's an intelligent woman. She shared this information with me. I know she's intelligent. She's had a plan to protect herself and safeguard herself at work. She's gonna, communicate with her administrator, and she's not gonna have any more problems. My wife can handle this, right? People think different, different social classes. We approach shit different. We process things different. I wouldn't want her to lose her license. There's nothing for me to do. I know my place. It's not at her job. That's why she's the professional there. You see, people think different. They approach things different. They do different things. So Wanda Smith lost her job. She lost her comedy, all her little comedy stuff that she was doing. All that shit was over. Nobody. It. I think that people would have got over the roasting. People get roasted all the time. People would have got over that. But her husband putting the danger, he's out of control. He's pulling guns. That made her untouchable in the entertainment industry. Nobody wanted to fuck with Wanda. We don't want you coming to our comedy club with your crazy husband. What else is he gonna do? He ruined her career. Wanda Smith, for the past 3, 4 years, I ain't seen her doing nothing. I looked on Instagram and she kind of disappeared. She got depressed, very depressed. And I'm ashamed to say that nobody will say what everybody kind of understands, but the sister took herself out about 3 months ago. She took herself out. She was going, and she said it, and that's what her family said. She was going through a deep depression after losing her job. That's what they say. She was going through a lot. She was having a deep depression after losing her job. It wasn't the Cat Williams roasting, it was the losing the job and becoming untouchable in an industry she absolutely loved. She was doing some Tyler Perry movies. Don't nobody want to fuck with you when you got a crazy motherfucker who want to pull out a gun. When you're known to have somebody who will sully an environment, a comedy club, whatever. We don't know. He's a loose cannon. He's dangerous. We don't want that. We don't want the liability. We don't want you, Wanda. Stay away, Wanda. The industry's afraid because you have a crazy husband over here. You see what I'm saying? You don't have the boundaries. He ruined her career completely. Cat Williams didn't ruin it. I was upset when she died, and everybody, Cat Williams did this. No, no, no. Her husband did this. The world forgot about the roasting. The shit was 8 years ago. She's been depressed because her husband made her lose her job. She's been doing it for 20 years. She lost her income, her lifestyle. She lost all those connections of being the level she was at. She got depressed. Nobody wants to say that maybe, just maybe, she took herself out just 3 months ago. It's very sad. She was only like 50, 50. She wasn't old at all. Sad, man. So I'm just using that scenario to say that women have to be careful with their husbands, with men, and the boundaries of the job. You have to be, because they may not understand that their actions that they're doing for their own male ego will cost you everything. So it comes back to a respect factor. At the end of the day, it comes back to boundaries and a respect factor. And I don't think any man's ego, his moment of ego bravado, is worth any woman's career. I don't think so. So I'm going to say that a woman either needs to know her husband well and not share information that she knows is going to cause him to act a fool. Keep it to herself. Be smart enough to do that. Like that one scenario I told you about. And she handle it and really handle it professionally the best way she can. Don't tell him shit if he can't handle the truth. How they say, you want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Some people, some men, they can't handle the truth. They jump off and they want to pop off. If you got a pop off husband or a pop off boyfriend, don't tell him shit. Be smart. We're smart. Women are always smart. We know what to tell a motherfucker and what not to. Because we know your ass, we know how you gonna act. And if you know you with a fool, don't tell a fool something that's gonna make him act a fool, right? Common sense. And then the other thing is, as a woman, you just have to say, this is how I'm gonna handle it. This is what happened, and this is what I'm gonna do. And let them know clearly, I don't need you to do anything. Thank you so much. As a professional, I can handle my own shit. Thank you, husband. Thank you, boyfriend. I got this. We got to be clear. We got to be clear. 'Cause I'm telling you, the education law and the teacher, the scenario that very specific scenario, that PTA could have been turned the fuck out. I'm just saying, you confronting some man, right or wrong, at the PTA, you ain't got no jurisdiction there. You ain't no different than Wanda Smith's husband pulling a gun on Cat Williams. I'm just saying, you ain't no different. You where you ain't, don't need to be, and you about to cost this woman everything. I wouldn't do it. So that's just something I think women should think about. We always, I love people. They call me man. Man, you're a man. You're a man. No, 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 no. What it is I'm balanced and I'm not bitter. I'm balanced and not bitter, and that's what people don't like about me. But I will tell you that as a humanist feminist, women have to protect their careers and their reputation. You have to. There have been so many men. We could start with Ike and Tina. You know what I'm saying? We could go through a whole list of women who have been thrown under the bus. What is her name? Wendy Williams, Mary J. Blige. We could go through a whole list of women, black and white, thrown under the bus, career screwed up by the husband, by the boyfriend. Throw the money away, throw the resources, throw the connection, just fucked everything up. You got to draw your boundaries. Draw your boundaries. Keep them out your shit. Married don't mean own. You got a right to stay separate on your shit. Married does not mean owned. She probably went home and got her husband worked up as well. See, that's the thing. I don't. With the story that yeah, that's true. She may have. She may have. She was upset, and she does have a Wanda got a mouth, and I'm sure she was popping off and talking all that shit. But at some point, she got to know my husband is a fool. He's a fool, and she knows she got that contract on her head. She should have let him know what she can't do and what he don't need to do to cause her to lose everything. And I know men are supposed to be the logical ones, right? Men are supposed to be logical, but he decided to be emotional. And that's what I heard today on that recording of that panel. I heard emotional men. I did not hear men who were thinking rationally, thinking past the moment. I didn't hear that. I heard I'm feeling, right? I'm feeling like I need to assert my manhood. I'm feeling insecure, and I got to let this other man see and know. I thought that was interesting. And if people, I have people have done that. They call me male identified. I totally think I am. I'm stereotypically very masculine in my mind because I don't think necessarily from emotion. Stereotypical. Because what we're finding out is that men are much, much more emotional than women are. Is that not the case? I am seeing men be very emotional. Men are not, that's a stereotype. That's why I said it's a stereotype. It's a stereotype that all this stoicism and men they just buck up and stand up and they don't let things bother. Shit. Shit. And it's not just the young ones. It's the old ones. Especially the old ones. These motherfuckers be emotional. They be in their feelings, baby. Men are emotional. Men are way emotional. Women are expressive. We'll cut your ass out. We're expressive. Women, yes, we're expressive. Men are emotional. Women, we think smart. Most of us do. We think smart. We think smart. I'm not saying men think stupid, but I'm saying we are going to more likely be moving towards logic than most men. That's just the truth. Men think about asserting their manhood, the need to say and do something, to prove something. And with us women, for the most part, we're about results. We're saying to ourselves, now, how do I win? That's all we think about. How do I win? No matter how I look, how do I win? I might come out looking like a punk, but did I win? We different. We fucking different. Y'all ladies, don't tell them. Don't tell them. I'm talking too much. Talking too much. So somebody can say, "Oh, you look male identified," because I'm not falling apart, because I'm not crying and being emotional and stupid. No, that's what men do. Most men do that. Men operate out of harsh ego. Most men. I'm just telling you. Me personally, just from my perspective, if I was a man and I had a wife, and somebody sent a flower 2 days in a row, she told me about it. She's not worried about it. I said, "Well, baby, you know how to handle that. Handle it." And that would have been it. That would have been it. It ain't nothing for me to assert, do, pull up my dick, sling it, swing it. There is nothing for me to do. There's no jurisdiction at the school. It's just that simple. Very logical. Baby, you know how to handle it. You're a professional. And keep it motherfucking moving. Y'all see the difference? Man, it's a very interesting scenario. All right, Ashay, that's my last thought.